You strong.
He jumps up in joy, now realizing it's somewhat similar to the shop on the first floor that the Awakeners often mention. Sejun activates the shop skill immediately, kicking off the empty history. Suddenly, remembering that buying requires money, he, like a genuine farmer, wonders if he can exchange vegetables for it. The system knows that no matter how hard the farmer tries, Sejun is still poor, so it gives him a tower coin for free, as if his eyes were selling him out. Sejun is extremely surprised. The shop system is unusually generous today. In the real world, a tower coin is worth 1,000,000. The system informs that there are 3 random seed types available each day. At Sejun's current level, he can buy 1 type to plant. The catch is, even though there's only 1 type, there are 1,000 seeds, sounding grand but quite pricey in market terms. He pondered for a while and decided to eliminate 2 options, red chili and cabbage, as they weren't very stable. So the remaining one is carrot seeds, right? The rabbit family immediately turns their heads to look at Sejun upon hearing the words carrot seeds. He realizes they are trying to tell him something, so he repeats and finally understands it's about carrot seeds. The eyes of the rabbit couple sparkle with excitement. He leans closer, emphasizing the keyword carrot, and the rabbit family nods eagerly. The more he mentions it, the more enthusiastic their response. Talking too much annoys the rabbits. One of them jumps up and kicks him in the face to shut him up. Sejun follows their preference and buys 1,000 carrot seeds. Unlocking the achievement of purchasing earns him 1 loyalty point. Every 100 accumulated points allow him to level up once. The seeds are packed in a fancy red bag, landing in Sejun's hands amidst the admiration of the entire rabbit family. Many unexpected events happen to the tower manager, claiming the transactions with the store are going well, probably anticipating new items for exploitation. Anyway, with 1,000 seeds, Sejun and the rabbit family start planting right away. Above the cave entrance where the grass grows thick, a brown bee is flying somewhere. But seeing the spirited crowd, she stops to see if anyone deserves a sting. Look at those cute little bunny butts shaking, gazing happily at the carrot seeds just planted and covered with soil. They're chattering away, making Sejun feel a bit odd. Even though the seeds have been planted for a few days, nothing has sprouted yet, and they keep lying there. Are they obsessed with carrots? Anyway, his part is done. Now it's time to rest. Wake up in the afternoon to pollinate the flowers and trim the onions. Suddenly, Sejun hears a buzzing sound in his ear. He waves his hand to shoo it away, but it keeps buzzing by his ear. Darn it, so annoying. Why is there suddenly an insect here disturbing his sleep? In front of him is a large brown bee, staring intently with its 2 big eyes. The baby rabbit sitting on Sejun's lap also looks up to see the creature from another species, making its buzzing sound. He hesitates before this winged creature. How come all the tower monsters are so cute? Sejun decides to take a closer look at the bee, but the system promptly pops up a notification that this is a venomous bee. Oh my, why didn't you say so from the beginning? A venomous bee? Sejun quickly closes his palms. He sends out an SOS signal, intending to ask the baby rabbits what this creature is and if it's dangerous. He notices their parents carrying 5 baby bunnies and running away long ago. Gosh, those miserable rabbit parents. How dare they leave him alone to become prey for a meat-eating bee, to prove that his fear is not exaggerated. The tower manager informs him that this is a venomous bee specializing in stinging and eating its prey. How can a meat-eating bee have such a misleading appearance? Sejun feels his heart just dropped, waving his hands continuously to shoo the bee away, but it keeps getting closer. In his eyes, this bee is no different from a murderer, ready to devour him. His legs go weak, collapsing onto the ground, arms flailing, hitting whatever is nearby towards the bee. Not sure if he wants to kill it or sacrifice it for himself. But when he sees tomato branches full of yellow flowers, the brown bee stops and stares at them intently, shifting its focus to the flowers, no longer caring about the timid farmer. A moment later, Sejun dares to open his eyes to take a look. He finds the brown bee sticking its head into the flowers with delight. When it lifts its head, it looks like it just had a satisfying meal, appearing innocent and harmless. Sejun glances at the system window with no trust, asking again if the meat-eating animal is ferocious. It keeps silent without daring to explain. Suddenly remembering that bees can pollinate flowers, Sejun leans closer to the brown bee and whispers, "We have a whole field of tomato flowers. If you like, dive in and enjoy. Turns out this bee is picky. Despite the abundance of tomato flowers, it keeps buzzing around Sejun, only becoming interested when invited to indulge. So in a stroke of luck, Sejun loses his pollinator, having to manually pollinate using a poking stick. Now that he has time, Sejun turns around to scold his timid rabbit family, who left him alone, and now come back to snoop around without a clue. They fidget and act all lovey-dovey, especially this timid rabbit husband, looking so pitiful. The brown bee seems to have finished feasting on the flower nectar, flying over to Sejun, who is still quite startled, gradually backing away, afraid it might change its mind and attack him. Unexpectedly, the brown bee lands on Sejun's yellow-stained white shirt, stretching its chubby body and taking a nap on his stomach. Indeed, chubby ones often feel sleepy. Well, that's fine. As long as it doesn't turn around and sting him, it's okay. Time goes by, Sejun's tomato field grows steadily, and there are already 120 tally marks on the cave wall. Sejun happily tends to his garden with the rabbit family every day, cutting fresh leaves. He works diligently while the rabbit children frolic around, which is exactly how children should play. Sejun now resembles an old man watching children play in the yard. The bee, as usual, perches on him after finishing its nectar feast. It has been visiting Sejun's prehistoric cave for weeks, coming in the morning to work and flying into the forest at night. Sejun's farm is expanding, providing enough land for everyone to live in harmony. Perhaps this brown bee no longer spends time with its own colony and prefers to stay here. Sejun likes it too, especially when it releases honey like this, creating a super delicious and enjoyable honey-dipped onion dish. His rabbit family really enjoys it. Who knows if tomorrow, dipping carrots in honey will become their new favorite. Sejun chews on a stalk of honey-dipped onion while thinking happily. At first, he was afraid of being attacked by this bee, but thanks to it, his garden has expanded, and he even harvests honey. The status window pops up just as he is eagerly awaiting to bathe in honey, but when Sejun turns back, it disappears instantly. He doesn't pay much attention, as he's used to the fleeting nature of the tower manager. Sejun shifts his attention to his wall calendar. The blue moon is coming soon. Thinking back to the day the bear came to say hello, he still feels a bit scared. Sejun just hopes to survive through this lunar eclipse. On the 121st day before the blue planet appears, Sejun gathers ripe tomatoes into a bag, along with his travel gear, prepared like a guerrilla fighter, ready for the eclipse. The rabbit family on the other side is bustling strangely, each seeming more worried than before. Sejun stands up with a basket of ripe tomatoes, intending to lure them back into the house, only to see the entire rabbit family embracing each other tenderly. What's going on? Getting ready to send their kids off to study abroad? Sejun is bewildered. Before he can grasp anything, he sees the rabbit couple leaving their 5 golden-haired children behind. They rushed back to their house, ignoring the stuttering farmer's words. As they reached the door, the rabbit couple turned back, waving goodbye, then closed the door firmly, locking it for safety. Oh my, what's happening? Why did you leave your children here like this? The solar eclipse is approaching. Sejun barely finished speaking when the blue planet appeared, obscuring the sunlight, casting a faint blue light over him. Suddenly feeling a chill run down his spine, Sejun turned around to see the golden-haired rabbit children now resembling muscular thugs. Their eyes turned red, their mouths filled with sharp teeth, and their bodies grew larger, emitting growling sounds, thirsting for blood. Is there still time to send an SOS signal? Sejun felt his scalp tingle. The adorable golden-haired rabbit children were forgotten. Just as Sejun was about to flee for his life, the rabbits suddenly began to glow like toys. Amidst the dazzling light, their fur turned pure white, thicker and fluffier, and all their muscular features disappeared. Wow, surprised yet? The 5 rabbit siblings appeared in their new forms, all resembling white Tangela Pikachu, except for one black rabbit that's a type Sejun called the ink rabbit. Perhaps it's from the neighbor's house. Needless to say, Sejun was speechless with amazement. So this is a sign of maturity, a change in fur color. They gathered under Sejun's feet, chirping cutely to show off. Since they were born until this blue moon, it's the 5th time already, isn't it? Sejun curiously approached to get a closer look at them. Suddenly, he burst into tears, thinking something had happened to them earlier. The rabbits looked at him blankly. Oh, this big brother is not only cowardly, but also emotional. The black rabbit beside him tried to comfort him, but ended up being hugged and kissed on the cheek by Sejun. They look so cute, I want to kiss them too. As the crescent moon just moved away from the sun, the rabbit couple stepped out of the door with excitement, seeing Sejun and their children sitting by the fire. The whole family hugged each other happily. It seems that the rabbit parents already knew about this. Only Sejun was fooled. Suddenly, one of the baby rabbits raised its hand in the air, the one that resembled Pikachu the most in the litter. Out of nowhere, it made a Doraemon sound, digging the ground with a shovel. Sejun couldn't believe his eyes. Each of them had a rabbit information board in their hands, along with their own farming tools. It turns out that these rabbits all have the ability to summon items when they mature. Even Sejun can't borrow and use them temporarily. And what about this neighbor's rabbit? The ink rabbit seemed to be waiting for Sejun to ask, proudly showing off something bright, a hammer-shaped item. Indeed, a huge hammer. Sejun didn't understand why this ink rabbit offered a hammer. Is it for building something? It carried the hammer on its shoulder, proudly showing that it had grown up. Suddenly, Sejun leaned down to closely examine the information board of the ink rabbit. Unlike the others, it said it was a black warrior rabbit. So it's the neighbor's rabbit. Parents are farmers, siblings are farmers, and each of them has a different fur color and specializes in combat. A few days later, everything went as usual. The baby rabbits had enough farming tools to work just like their parents, looking very professional. The chubby rabbits were busy pushing baskets of tomatoes for Sejun to sort and store. Sejun felt himself getting older day by day. Just the other day, they were still noisy kids in the garden. Now each of them has grown up. It's quite touching. But the siblings worked diligently. He looked back at the ink rabbit lying on the ground. Although it's confirmed that this is a warrior rabbit, it still seems idle. To be honest, there's nothing here for a warrior rabbit to fight, nor any structures to build. While thinking about finding a job for the ink, it suddenly perked up its ears, then picked up the hammer and beckoned Sejun to follow it to the water pond in the cave. He immediately realized that hunting could also be a form of teamwork. With a newly lit torch in hand, a fierce piranha fish lunged at Ink to test its new hammer. Displaying its warrior spirit, Ink swung the hammer straight at the fish, sending it crashing into the cave wall like a bomb. Ink landed a majestic blow like a true warrior, while Sejun grimaced at the squashed fish sliding down. The black rabbit didn't know what to do, quickly turned back to give a thumbs up to its human brother, but Sejun was unsure whether to praise or criticize. That evening, minced fish was served amidst the solemn atmosphere of the whole family. Ink noticed the siblings' mocking attitude, so it deflated all its joy, and Sejun had to console it with a few words. Since then, the baby rabbits began to be more familiar with their tasks, and Ink's fishing skills improved significantly. From the 125th day onwards, the seed shop reopened for a new round of purchases, still allowing Sejun to choose one type as usual. There were still 3 options, but the quantity had clearly decreased. 10 watermelon seeds for 5 tower coins, 50 pumpkin seeds for 1 coin, or 200 corn seeds for half a coin. No more discounted 1,000 seeds. Sejun was surprised to see such rare seeds being sold this month, partly because he now only had 0.9 tower coins, and there was no choice other than corn seeds, a worry creeping into his mind. It's been over 4 months here without any way to make money. Other awakened players make money by fighting monsters and clearing chaos on the tower floors. Even though they have to split the rewards among their team, they still earn more than Sejun. The second way is to hunt monsters and sell their bodies to merchants on the first floor. The third way to make money is to complete missions and receive rewards, but his tower management system is behaving contrary to what he was told. There are no rewards, but demands for various things, threatening to kill if not provided. But Sejun still raised his head and asked if there were any tasks with tower coins as rewards. The window appeared quickly, saying something about tower coins, not understanding, and that the tower management will automatically provide when the time comes. Sejun furrowed his brow. He's already 26 years old and still not considered an adult. How old is the tower manager then? Of course, the Black Dragon didn't disclose its age, only saying that Sejun would receive money when he turned 300. Sejun got irritated. He's a sweaty human, not some monster that lives to that age. And if the tower manager gives money after another 274 years, who will use it then? His distant descendants. Who would he even breed with? After spending all these days surrounded by vegetables and rabbits, seeing he made a valid point, unable to argue back, the system quickly switched to playing cards. Sejun grudgingly accepted. The tower manager's personality has always been like this, so he returned to selecting seeds. Listening with awe, Sejun could only choose corn seeds and try to envision himself boiling and grilling them, and making bread flour, blah blah. After the system congratulated and wished them various kinds of luck, it handed him a red pouch, pouring out exactly 200 seeds without any extras or shortages. But they seemed to be of good quality, so they first cheered each other up to work. The rabbits were very excited about the new food, and in their eyes, Sejun was the expert in providing various kinds of food. Before eating, his stomach was rumbling with hunger and anticipation. Admiring Sejun's resilience, he had been eating only those vegetables and fish for 125 days. If it were me, I'd be crying for days and nights, craving hamburgers, pizza, and bubble tea. With new recruits specializing in fishing, Sejun and the rabbit family enjoyed a satisfying meal, sitting around the fire. A honeybee flew in from somewhere to say hi. There have been more and more of them in the cave lately, less time in the woods, but Sejun didn't care much. With them buzzing around his face, he was happy. Suddenly, the two bee antennae pointed in one direction. They flew up into the cave mouth without saying a word. The ink also became wary, grabbing its warrior hammer just in time for Sejun to notice something new leaping out of the cave mouth. Its two hands looked like those of a stretching cat. Its voice sounded awkward, hoping everyone wouldn't misunderstand. "I'm not a shameless cat thief here to steal food." The rabbits and the honeybee looked very alert, and Sejun also startled, asking what it was doing there. He was so tense that he forgot this cat could talk instead of meowing. Instead of answering, it jumped back into the cave, somersaulting magnificently to the ground right in front, then extending a hand with pink pads forward to greet Sejun very professionally. "You're customer Park Sejun, right?" Its appearance resembled a cat doing tricks, but walking on the ground. And the important thing to mention, 7 times 7, 49 times, it's an orange cat. A merchant? Sejun doubted, looking at the cat in front of him. The word on the street was that awakened ones climbing the tower would meet merchants. But no story mentioned that cats could do this job too. Moreover, look at those round eyes. Add to that the pair of soft, chubby cheeks, and especially those little pink paws. Oh my god, how can one resist such cuteness? His heart throbbed wildly. It seemed Sejun was about to faint, but he was still alert enough to speculate that this chubby furball was definitely a scammer. Despite this flirty introduction, Sejun maintained an indifferent demeanor. With a very professional bow, it said, "I heard a newcomer has traded with the seed shop, Mr. Sejun." Its flattery made him want to maintain his coolness, pretending not to care. "So you're here to say hello and offer some lucrative deals." As Theo spoke, he rummaged through his pouch, boasting about having many good items, making Sejun interested to see. Before even seeing the items, Sejun heard the loud rumble of the cat's hungry belly. He was done for. Where's the image of a cool merchant in front of a customer? Theo scratched his head and ears, hastily apologizing to Sejun, then explaining that it hadn't eaten anything all day, hence the condition. Sejun was amazed at the pitiful cat laughing. Suddenly, he cracked a smile that stretched to his ears, looking absurdly cute. "You're Theo, right?" The merchant cat felt shy and glanced over, locking eyes with a whole grilled fish along with the smiling face of the customer. The delicious smell and the golden brown skin made Theo excited, claws twitching, drool continuously flowing. But just a few seconds later, it hastily wiped its mouth, addicted but still hesitant, so it said it couldn't eat the customer's food. "Don't you want to eat for real?" Sejun approached Theo and pushed the fish into its face. The sweet and tempting fish meat was both tender and fatty. "If you don't eat this, it would be a waste of a lifetime for a cat. Oh my god, this amazing taste lingers, making saliva drip uncontrollably." Then suddenly, there was a meow and the sound of chewing. It was beyond satisfying. With a bone in its paw, Theo lay on its back, licking its lips. Sejun sat beside it, saying it must have been really hungry. Because that cat had just swallowed 5 grilled fish, it was a glutton, not a cat. Theo quickly got up, bowed his head in thanks, not knowing how to repay such a generous god. But Sejun just smiled and said there was no need. Truly a kind and lovely person. Theo happily rummaged through his pouch, wanting to sell more items to make some extra money from him. This trip would be profitable. Ha ha ha! Not just 5 tower coins. Sejun excitedly stretched out his hands, asking for money for a few grilled fish. Theo angrily bristled all over and shouted back, "It's not free? There's nothing free in this world. Sejun retorted cheerfully, then switched to a threatening tone, asking if Theo planned to eat and run. Why not take a look around? Theo worriedly glanced around, seeing a whole gang of rabbit thugs punching and kicking. And there's also a black rabbit wielding a hammer. Fuming, it paid the ransom. Then it collapsed on the spot, while Sejun and his gang were ecstatic about easily scamming the foolish cat for money. On the other side, Theo silently screamed in his heart, "Damn it, he lost all his money before even making a sale. Losing money without even doing business. Can't let life trample on me like this." It quickly pulled out its bag in front of Sejun, eagerly saying, "Come take a look." Theo pulled out a purple cloth, enthusiastically displaying 3 items and boasting that they were very popular on other floors. A cup of water, a mini fan, and a handheld hot pack, all for 5 coins. These are items from outside the tower, right? Sejun and the rabbit gang stared intently at the merchandise, making Theo feel very pleased and proud. Then, holding up the cup, it introduced, "This here has a magic spell for preservation. Just put something hot or cold in here, and it can maintain the temperature." Next is the mini fan with a wind magic. When you need it, just press the switch like this. Sejun stared wide-eyed at Theo, who was enthusiastically pitching, thinking this cat must be out of its mind, so he couldn't help but interrupt the foolish cat. Coldly pointing at its merchandise, he said bluntly, "These items are all junk." "What are you saying?" Theo straightened up. "Damn, this guy dared to call its goods junk. It shows he's just a commoner who can't recognize the true value of these items." Sejun remained calm, pointing to himself. "I'm from outside the tower, cat. What the fuck?" Theo felt like it got struck by lightning. Its ears drooped in shock as it looked at him. Sejun had to explain to the poor cat, "This cup is just a thermos by sealing the lid tightly to prevent outside germs. And the mini fan and heating bag only have limited use. They turn off after a few hours." Those words felt like a stab to the weak cat's heart. It crouched down in agony. Clearly it was told they had magic. Just then, the mini fan's wings were shaking, proving Sejun's words were right. Theo frustratedly kicked the fan repeatedly with its foot, shouting in a strained voice, "Move, please." Sejun added fuel to the fire, saying that Skaram was a scammer, tricking the cat like that. Realizing the bitter truth, the cat collapsed to the ground, saying, Theo had given Skaram its heart. How could it fall for such a scam? Skaram truly was a wicked trickster, combining being poor and unlucky with this bonus scam. Theo cried like rain, pounding its hands on the ground. Sejun kept marveling at its cute cat-like voice, cursing without any malice, just finding it adorable. The innate performer emerged strongly within Sejun, gently comforting Theo and asking it to tell the whole story. Theo tried to hold back its tears, its voice trembling. It said it came from floor 75, a neutral area of the tower. One fine day, the village cats cheered Theo on to confess its love. It listened to its friends, holding a bunch of fish, to propose to the cat it secretly liked for so long. Merle was a proud, pure white cat, as elegant as it gets. As soon as it saw the fish, it quickly backed away. The mistress of gold and jade didn't bother with such cheap stuff, only fancy pate. Merle immediately clawed and shredded Theo's gift. The cheap fish smell made it nauseous. What are you doing?" Theo couldn't believe the gentle girl it always dreamed of could act so distant and mighty, but for love, it just dove in, not caring anymore. "You should know your place." As Theo was desperately begging Merle, a mocking voice rang out. It was Oren, the son of the richest cat in the village. He swaggered in a suit with a fancy tied salmon, making all the female cats swoon. A lady like Merle deserved expensive things. Then Oren brought the fish to Merle, making the other female cats swoon. Theo, from afar, angrily tried to belittle him. "She only likes pate, you idiot." "Wow, isn't she beautiful?" Totally different from what the simp lord said. Merle's eyes were shining with desire as she looked at the salmon, shattering Theo's dreams. In pain, chasing after the crush happily in the arms of another, Theo ran up, grabbed Merle's hand, turning into an Indian soap opera soaked with tears. The poor cat Theo interrogated the girl. "Are our memories together meaningless?" Seeing his lover walk with the rich Oren, he hallucinated that everything was fake. Theo looked at the tearful Merle with sadness. Would she dare to swear on those tears? "Just days ago, we were frolicking in the sunny meadows, arguing for no reason. You used to slap me playfully." "Oh, those days. Are you high or something?" Merle squinted threateningly. Theo's nonsense story drove her mad. I've only laughed with you a few times, and you're delusional? There was never any frolicking in the sun-drenched meadows between us. There were only days of storms, thunder, and lightning. Theo clinging on, getting scolded by Meryl. I don't hate eating fish. Meryl heatedly pointed her claw straight at the simp lord. I just hate eating the cheap fish of a poor, ragged guy like you. Theo was shocked to the core, every word tearing his heart apart. His tears fell. The game was over. From now on, the world lost a cat. Then those two cats walked away. Theo immediately packed up his belongings, hugged his dreams of becoming a wealthy trader to return for revenge. But life wasn't like a dream. That's why I'm suffering like this now. Sejun and the rabbits listened to the cat's lamentations and felt depressed, sweat pouring out continuously. Theo's life story wasn't over yet. It used 50 silver coins to buy a business license and the necessary equipment to become a trader. With the remaining 5 coins, Theo planned to buy some items to sell for profit. That's when it met Scarum. At that time, the cat was waiting at the counter when approached by a green fairy, who introduced himself as Scarum and claimed to know a lot. So they both went to a beer hall with some sexy rabbits serving, looking very different from Sejun's rabbits. There, the mysterious Scarum said he had many items outside the tower, and if Theo sold them to people on higher floors, he would make a lot of money. You wondered why Scarum was so good. He immediately adopted a sweet tone, saying it's because he values you, considering this as an investment in a new trader. He pretended to be angry when he saw Theo hesitate, saying if you don't like it, he can give it to someone else. Theo fell into the trap, not wanting to miss out on good merchandises, so he stopped him and was given a map showing the location of new customers of the seed shop, pushing the paper toward the cat while encouraging him that he could make a lot of money with this item. Because he provided a lot of confidential information, he asked Theo to pay for the beer, and the cat eagerly agreed. Having spent all the money on Scarum, he didn't have money to buy food. That's why he came here with a hungry stomach. Theo crouched, trembling, narrating, then lay down on the ground, begging because Sejun stole the last few coins, crying because he felt useless, robbed by this human. This cat is both easygoing and foolish, so Scarum clearly cheated and fooled him. Sejun also felt sorry but didn't care. But wait, I have an idea. His face suddenly showed an indescribable expression. His dark mind came up with a way to make money. First, he had to stop the cat from crying, eat a few more grilled fish. Theo. Sejun chuckled. The cat refused immediately. Are you planning to trick me? You don't have any money left already. Who would want to cheat you? I'll give you free food. Hearing this, Theo's eyes widened suspiciously, looking at the scammer. Sejun eagerly suggested the cat work for him, pretending to be friendly, while secretly wanting to catch the cat without using a knife. On the next day at the tower, Sejun found a colleague. Do you want us to work together? Theo was surprised. This move was too strange. He couldn't anticipate it. Sejun explained that he needed a good trader to sell items, but the cat thought he was a pathetic failure. After the recent story, he still wanted to hire me. Feeling embarrassed, the cat continued to feel down. I'm just a useless and obscure chicken trader. Not wanting to lose potential labor, Sejun immediately boosted the cat's morale by praising him and expressing his confidence in Theo. Moreover, your unfortunate life has touched my heart, so we can become business partners. Surely he thinks a cat can understand that phrase, right? To show his sincerity, Sejun enthusiastically called some bunnies for Theo to broaden his horizons. Just a moment later, the leafy resort by the lake with a garden style was completed. Sejun comfortably lay on the water-absorbing chair, with a bunny standing by to fan cool air. Theo, not used to such luxury, found it strange. At this point, Sejun turned to business matters. First by reminding Theo of the bunch of items the cat brought were counterfeit, making the foolish cat reluctant to speak, just wanting to get it over with. This is the right time to propose a deal. Sejun suggests Theo take the items from him to sell, then he'll give you a 3 to 5% commission from the sales revenue. Damn, does this guy only speak gibberish? What does he expect from a cat that just knows how to lick his butt all day? Seeing the cat looking confused, he cheerfully said, "You can sell the items for a higher price than I set." Sejun is quite sure the cat is capable of that. The higher the price you sell, the more commission you'll get. The big uncle on the side is discussing business vigorously, while these two bunny kids are busy grilling fish. Back to Theo, who is pondering, what kind of commission is that? Too little. Does that guy think I'm easy to fool? Sejun can tell what the cat is thinking. It's time to reveal the ace. He waves his hand to summon the bunnies over. Theo sees the plate of fish in their hands, nearly drooling. Our agreement doesn't stop there. I'll also give you an extra 10 fish, Sejun said excitedly, pointing to the grilled fish on the bunny's hands. Astonishing Theo. Seeing the bunnies lay the fish on the table, he eagerly sits beside them, even if it's fish. Ugh, Theo swallows saliva with a gulp. So, are you ready to sign the contract with me now? Sejun casually asks. The plan has been successful so far. Just waiting for one more nod from the cat. Meanwhile, Theo is struggling internally fiercely. Haven't the previous tricks been enough? Be a smart cat. Don't trust anyone. Theo shakes his head hesitantly, but the enticing aroma nearby keeps coming, making him unable to resist drooling. Quietly wiping his mouth and regaining a bit of dignity, Theo demanded 20 more fish before considering the proposal. Just as he got that, Sejun's smile lost all humanity, again fooling a fool to sell himself to capitalism. What, 20 fish? I'll give you 25 fish, he said as he lifted a bunch of fish onto the table, making Theo's eyes widen in amazement. Oh my god! A total of 25 fish, any remaining trace of dignity vanished. Theo's ears perked up, eagerly eyeing the food in front of him. Of course, Sejun firmly confirmed, adding, "You can eat as much as you want when you come here to get the goods." Really? Really? The cat's mouth, legs, and tail were all trembling. This salary couldn't be more perfect. Seeing the big fish about to bite, Sejun glared, emphasizing the 5 words, "As much as you want," straight into the cat's naive ears. Theo's eyes lit up. His front legs had to be raised to support his face from falling off. That's it. Prepare for a foolish cat being lured into slavery on the farm. I feel sorry, but oh well. Who cares? The prey has been trapped. Sejun immediately tells his buddies to sign the contract. Theo eagerly raises his paw in agreement. Seizing the opportunity, Sejun quickly takes out pen and paper, scribbling a few basic lines, finally sealing it with his and the cat's fingerprint. Happy cooperation. Sejun happily pats the cat's shoulder as he happily sniffs around, but less than a second later, a loud scream echoed. Damn it. Theo was so excited that he signed the contract unconsciously. He didn't even bother to read what was written in it before slapping his paw on it. It's gone. But now the contract has flown away with Theo's meow meow cry. Regret is useless now, darling. The contract has been sent to the system and appears in front of the two with the title Lifetime Distribution Contract. Just hearing the name makes me uneasy. Basically, the contract mentions the mutual benefits of cooperation between Sejun and Theo, especially that the cat will be exploited for labor for life. The salary is as Sejun mentioned, but there are some special clauses. First, if Theo can't sell more than 5 units per month, the contract will be automatically terminated. Second, the selling price of agricultural products must always be equal to or higher than the price he specifies. Thirdly, Theo is not allowed to create any additional supplementary clauses on his own. Fourthly, Theo should use a cat's voice to communicate with customers, strictly prohibited from punching customers in any situation. At the bottom are prominent paw prints, like this. There's no escape route left. Looking at the basically slave contract, Theo froze. In contrast, Sejun was extremely pleased. Isn't this an irreversible contract? Indeed, it blocks all possible escape routes for the cat. Theo slumped to the ground. Why did he sign the first contract with this Loki-like guy? Not to mention the 4th special clause, using a cat's voice to greet customers. I'm super embarrassed about that watery voice. Theo angrily thumped his tail on the ground, glaring at Sejun, burning with embarrassment. But he ignored it, just reaching out to shake hands with his partner, starting work automatically. What's the problem? Angrily brushing off the human's hand, Theo's ears flattened in anger because it still risked being fired. As the first clause stated, if it didn't perform well, he could be kicked out without any compensation. Sejun trusts Theo. Sooner or later, he will become a bestseller. Smart cat. Then he pets the cat's head a few times. Hearing that, Theo felt ecstatic, suddenly seeing his handsome boss as 1,000 times more attractive. Theo's satisfied expression also made him happy. Winning over this cat is too easy. But what exactly does he intend to sell? After signing the contract, he doesn't bother to mention what goods he's going to sell at all. Haven't even started, and it already feels off. Tomatoes? Sejun's response startled Theo awake. This boss is a bit funny. People sell all sorts of cool stuff, and suddenly he wants to sell rainbow tomatoes. Sounds ridiculous. Sejun pays no attention to Theo's suspicious look. He picks a ripe tomato from the vine and hands it to the cat for inspection. Seeing that its quality isn't too bad, He asks the boss what price he wants to sell it for. In Theo's head, he secretly estimates he could make about 0.01 tower coin by scamming some newly awakened folks in the tower. But the price Sejun offers is 0.05 coin. Theo is stunned by Sejun's answer. This guy is increasing the price by 5 times than his estimate. Only crazy people would buy this stuff. Thinking it over, Theo realizes this is also a good thing. At that sky-high price, he won't be able to sell the goods. And it's easy to escape from that devilish contract in just 1 month, but still get to eat grilled fish. Too good. So how many tomatoes does the boss want me to sell? 1,000, okay? Sejun barely finishes speaking when the rabbits quickly bring out a basket full of tomatoes and a pile of grilled fish wrapped in onions. The efficiency of the rabbits' work surprises Theo greatly. Sejun is so used to it that he only cares about how the cat is going to carry this pile. Theo immediately pulls out the magic wrap. This has preservation, space expanding, and weight reducing spells. Food stored in here will remain in its original state for a long time. Let me demonstrate for you. Tossing the cloth towards the piled up food, it immediately opens a powerful spatial door, sucking all the food inside. But I have a question. If it sucks everything up like that, what's the point of arranging it in the first place? After sucking all the items inside, the wrapped cloth falls to the ground in the form of a backpack with drawstrings, opening the eyes of Sejun and the rabbit team wide. Would it be better to stuff a little more? Cheerfully putting on the backpack, Theo bids farewell to everyone. I'll be back early after a few days. Saying so, it jumps into the mouth of the cave, waving goodbye to the community below. Specifically, the cheating boss, the rabbit gang, and a big bee like holding hands. Fast forward, a few days later, on the 38th floor of the tower, under the blue sky, there's a hideous spider monster growling. Facing it is a group of awakened people fighting with all their might. The knight with a shield jumps forward to distract the monster, creating an opportunity for the 2 mages on the team to unleash fireball spells from the right side, distracting it. Seizing that chance, the knight immediately swings his sword, smoothly beheading the spider. The giant monster's body collapses to the ground, and it's also the moment when praises rain down, truly deserving the title of Phoenix Leader, Mr. Kim Dong-shik, number 1. The harem continuously worships the knight as he approaches them. However, Dong-shik isn't pleased with those empty praises. He immediately goes straight to the blonde girl and scolds her, telling Jessica to be more diligent instead of flattering. But Jessica isn't afraid at all. Instead, she winks playfully, saying, "Why are you scolding me so loudly? But I still really like you." Seeing that, Dong-shik can only smile bitterly, conceding defeat to such cheesy displays. Suddenly, a series of rustling noises echoes in the bushes behind, making Dong-shik startled as he swiftly turns around. Who's hiding there? He shouts loudly, quickly grasping the sword behind his back, making his teammates jump in surprise and turn back to look, only to see a cute, chubby white and pink cat poking out. Then Theo immediately steps out, taking off his hat to reveal his head, asking with wide eyes, "Do you want to see some good merchandise? Meow meow?" Dong-shik's hand freezes, thinking a monster is attacking, but it turns out to be just a lost cat. But the girls in the team are extremely excited, running over. Someone shouts loudly that the cat is actually a merchant, and with the cat's power, just a few seconds later, a crowd rushes over here. Seeing that, Theo also cheerfully greets, "Hello, nice to meet you, my talented companions, meow meow." The cat's adorable voice and its cute gestures melt the hearts of the girls in the team, and now the cat asks with wide eyes again, "Am I cute? Meow meow?" which makes the girls even more ecstatic. Now Theo understands why the boss made him use a cat voice to sell things. This guy is pretty smart. The greetings are over. Now it's time for the main act. Theo decisively brings out the basket of ripe red tomatoes and sets it down in front of the Phoenix members with a thud. 2 curious individuals step forward to take a closer look. This is the bio-tomato. The pink-haired girl frowns, realizing the cat is here to sell food. Disappointed, she turns away. Dong-shik thought it brought something valuable like a weapon or some kind of medicine. But tomatoes are abundant outside. If it's going to sell food, it should be hamburgers or hot dogs. What a foolish cat. You humans are the foolish ones. Theo knows they would think like that, so it confidently says, "This is completely different from the bio-tomatoes outside the tower. If you don't believe it, you can check its stats." Meow meow. Stats. The pink-haired and the hat-wearing girls look astonished at the tiny tomato in Theo's hand. Could this be an item? The hat-wearing girl immediately checks the system information. Eating a tomato increases 0.01 experience points for 10 minutes. It's not much, so the price shouldn't be high. Each one costs 0.05 coins. Theo's answer makes him jerk up. Are you out of your mind? I'd rather spend a little more to buy equipment than waste money on this nonsense. Then he immediately turns around and leaves, leaving the pink-haired girl staring at the system board intently, reading the words, "Eating tomatoes helps reduce 10 grams of fat." The fake awakening girls behind them stand still like statues. Then they shoot piercing looks straight at the pink hair. "Hey, repeat what you just said." Then they hurried to Theo to check the information about the bio-tomatoes and found out they could help with weight loss. Just eating 10 tomatoes for an hour could reduce a caddy already. Not only the girls were fascinated, but also a muscular brother with the soul of a teenage girl also eagerly joined in. Such an amazing item, not buying it would be foolish. Everyone rushed in to compete to buy, no one yielding to anyone, making Theo slightly frightened. The loud clashes attracted the attention of others. Seeing teammates lining up to buy tomatoes, the whole group then followed each other back to Theo. Even Dong Shik, who had just criticized, also hesitated to try a bit. At that moment, on the farm in the cave, the system is announcing Sejun's promotion. Busy harvesting tomatoes for next time, he suddenly remembers Theo. If he hadn't called out randomly, he would have probably encountered fake awakenings by now. With the function of burning 10 grams of fat, the bio-tomato will surely become a super hot diet product for women, but only available in the Black Tower. Putting the juicy tomato into his mouth, although he grew it himself, every time Sejun eats it, he never stops exclaiming, "How delicious this tomato is." His radiant face looking up at the cave entrance, he believes his agricultural products will dominate the market. People on a diet on Earth will surely be ecstatic to see them. At this moment, on the 38th floor, Theo is panting beside the empty basket with some coins scattered on the ground. This is the first time Theo's life has sold out. Perhaps the legend of the smuggling cat officially began here. Returning to the unstable farm, the carrot garden has started to sprout. While the father rabbit was very excited, Sejun was thoughtful. Only 700 seeds sprouted out of 1,000 seeds he bought. The miraculous bio-tomatoes also had only 732 seeds sprout out of 200 seeds. The corn and sweet potatoes bought at the seed shop and planted by him also reached about 60 to 70%. It seems the germination rate of carrots and bio-tomatoes is similar. Sad sitting next to the carrot plots, Sejun wishes they would sprout more, but perhaps the soil in the cave is not fertile enough, or his farmer level is still too low. He needs to quickly find a way to overcome this problem. Now that there are slaves going out to sell goods, the team at home needs to harvest as much as possible. Sejun and the father rabbit were discussing business when they heard a noise. Immediately turning around, they saw a bright torch spinning above. The author of this story is none other than Ink the rabbit, the little guy standing close to the lake, swinging the torch up high, attracting the fish below to follow. Gripping the ink hammer tightly, he jumps up high, throwing all his might. In just a few seconds, 5 fish have holes in their heads, and the rabbit lightly lands like a god. Ink reaches out to catch the torch, and at the same time, the fish fall heavily to the ground. Who is so skilled? Sejun pulls the whole family of rabbits to approach, not sparing praise when seeing the pile of fish behind the old and young, making Ink pleased, calling out a few pity sounds. Sejun approaches and sees the body of the little rabbit glowing. Has he leveled up? He has seen white rabbit siblings level up while farming, but this is the first time he has seen Ink level up like this. Sejun happily pets the head of the old and young rabbit, thinking the little one couldn't level up, but now he's no less than his older siblings. Ink raises his nose, puffing his chest and turning to the small white rabbits as if to say, "See how good I am." Despite not liking the arrogant attitude of Ink, they still reluctantly applaud to please the little rabbit. To celebrate Ink's level up event, Sejun generously allows the rabbit slave to take a few minutes off. Sejun conveniently rummaged through his bag and took out a thermos he got from the cat, grinning and saying, "Let's have some coffee." As soon as he opened the thermos, he saw several packets of coffee inside. Sejun eagerly grabbed one. It seemed neither Scarum nor Theo had ever opened it before. If Theo sold coffee instead of the thermos, Sejun would gladly pay whatever price, But that foolish cat didn't know anything, hence this ridiculous incident of buying a random item. Sejun poured the coffee powder into the plastic bottle, even without hot water or ice. He could still make an Americano from lake water. Then, he asked for a little honey from the bees and completed the honey Americano. The harmonious combination of bitterness and sweetness created a captivating flavor. Just one sip would dispel all fatigue, filling one with energy for a long day. Sejun happily took a sip. It's so delicious. Seeing his grandchildren looking at him, the kind Uncle Sejun shared the remaining half with them. Ink eagerly tried the poison first, but after just a small sip, his face turned pale and his whole body shook. Seeing this, the runt stubbornly tried to drink it down. Then the whole group of rabbits passed the black liquid around. Sejun laughed heartily, seeing the rabbits continuously grimacing. It seemed rabbit tongues were quite sensitive to bitterness, so they complained without any sounds. Laughing so hard his teeth were about to fall out, Sejun's eyes then caught a bee near the cave entrance waving hello, baby. Upon hearing his call, the queen bee immediately turned to look. The brown queen bee excitedly flew back to the bee nest, as if to show off to the gang. Sejun, down below, saw his mouth hanging open in shock for a few seconds. "You moved here?" Sejun felt so sad when he had to go home for dinner every day. "Now that she moved here, I'm so happy." He joyfully danced with the rabbits to welcome the new member. He even demanded a 2-day, 2-night party. "I know this guy is happy because he got another cheap laborer." While dancing merrily, the system suddenly appeared, requesting to give 10 cherry tomatoes to the tower manager. There was no reward, but refusing would disappoint him. Because Sejun kept delaying tasks and successfully negotiated with Theo, he no longer threatened him. Sejun chuckled silently, finding him pitiful and funny. Deciding, he took out 10 cherry tomatoes for the manager and immediately received a thank you message. Aha! Now they even know how to say thank you? Sejun's face lit up with extreme satisfaction at the manager's expression of gratitude. Suddenly, his smile vanished, his face turned solemn. He lowered his head against the rock wall in contemplation. Why am I so easily manipulated? Just a little gratitude, and I'm already like this. At that moment, in a restaurant in the Merchant Travel District, a green hand slammed a beer glass onto the table. "Why hasn't that damn cat come back yet?" Skram, in anger, cursed at the bugs. For those who don't remember, this is the guy who swindled our little Theo's money. The other two imps had heard him tell the story of fooling the foolish cat, but didn't understand why he was waiting for it. Scarum recounted his woes, wondering why it hadn't returned to the Merchant Guild to report the inventory. "How can we sell that pile of junk? Are you worried?" One bearded guy asked, but was waved off by Scarum. Should I be worried? But also couldn't ignore Theo, so he was planning for the case they met again. He had to buy a glass of milk and introduce a job to the cat, while lending it money to do business, making the imps extremely surprised. Scarum quickly explained to the stupid guy, the main purpose of all this is to trap that foolish cat into a spiral of debt. Eventually, it will become a lifelong slave to him. Scarum grinned maliciously, his eyes gleaming with ambition. That tyranny didn't make his younger brothers afraid, but they expressed admiration. "You're indeed a genius." They eagerly suggested going to find Theo to help the boss to gain a little benefit. However, Scarum was in no hurry. He remained calm. The prey would come to the mouth very soon. That indifferent attitude only made the gang of younger brothers worship him more. Having some free time, Scarum immediately checked today's merchant rank with a smile on his lips. He boasted, "Finally, I made it to the top 1,000, guys." Specifically, he ranked 999th, so he's on top, isn't he? Scarum smiled proudly at himself while listening to the flattery of his underlings. Then he began to scroll up to see those ranked higher, thinking sooner or later he would surpass them. WTF? His eyes widened in disbelief. What's this? Even in his wildest dreams, he hadn't expected to see the fat cat's name on the leaderboard, and at position 982, higher than him by dozens of ranks. Seeing this, the two underlings whispered to each other, making Scarum angrily pound the table. He erupted in terrible rage. "Does this miserable cat dare to play dumb to deceive me? If I catch him, he's dead for sure. Meow, 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 I've returned." Just as he mentioned it, here he comes. Theo grinned happily, not at Scarum, but at the boss who was sharpening his tools in the garden. Sejun, surprised, turned back, then stood up and asked where the wandering cat had been for the past few days. Theo, not understanding his intention, thought this guy was going to hit him. Scared, he hugged his head and promised not to wander around anymore. Huh? What did you say? Sejun stiffened, making Theo worried. He tucked his ears back and quietly said he had been playing for 4 days. Then he received a scolding from the boss. Clearly your buddy said it would take at least 10 days for a delivery. But in the end, the cat sold out all the goods and had plenty of time to play. When Theo saw him getting angry, he kept saying, "I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me." At that moment, Sejun was astonished, recalculating, considering both the trip there and back, totaling 14 days, meaning the cat sold all the goods as soon as he arrived. He heavily placed his hand on Theo's shoulder, twisting his face into an incredulous expression. "If you don't want to be shaved bald, quickly tell me everything from A to Z." Theo, sweating profusely, had no choice but to obey the command. So both he and the rabbit sat in the garden, listening to the cat meow 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 explaining for a long time. "That's all that happened, sir." Theo knelt on the ground, worried about his future, while Sejun was quite amazed at its selling ability. Seeing the situation seemed smooth, Theo took out money and handed it to the boss. "Here are 50 tower coins for you, sir." This was the first time Sejun had seen a real tower coin, so he carefully examined the gold coin in his hand bit by bit, then handed the money to Theo as a morale boost. The cat happily accepted the money, but wondered why he was called an employee. Shouldn't he be the best seller? Oh, this cat still dares to talk back? Sejun decided to demote him for his nonchalant attitude, but if he worked hard next time, he would both restore his position and increase his commission by 5%. Theo excitedly agreed, determined to regain the title of bestseller no matter what. At this point, Sejun asked Theo if he used cat language to sell products. Theo immediately switched to his fancy cat mode, affirming that from now on, he would always speak like this. With nothing left to argue about, Sejun happily fantasized about his future fame, which made Theo think his boss had gone crazy. Sejun kindly explained that the name of the grower would also appear on the product information board, so everyone would know about him soon. Theo listened and then meowed in despair. His hair stood on end. Oh no. For rookie traders like Theo, the system would hide the name of the grower to prevent professional traders from stealing their sources. This means Sejun's name would not appear on the board for cherry tomatoes at all. If the boss found out, the cat's life would be over. He would not only be demoted, but also lose his commission. Seeing the frightened kid freeze, Sejun immediately bent down and asked what was wrong with Theo. Carefully covering his face with a towel, he demanded the goods and then left. So soon? Rest for a few more days before leaving. "Why are you so kind today, brother?" But the cat immediately dashed off, his hands as fast as a tomato packing machine, startling his rabbit colleague. There wasn't much time left, so the only way was for Theo to earn 1,000 coins to level up to an intermediate trader to unlock the grower's name. That look of disappointment and worry caught Sejun's eye. He thought the golden-haired kid wanted to devote himself entirely to the job. Too bad, that's not the case at all. Under the clear blue sky stood a tall building. After spending so long in the cave, it was refreshing to see the real world. A group of men gathered, chatting animatedly. Just then, the phone of this burly man rang. Seeing his beloved daughter's message praising the cherry tomatoes, he was moved to tears. "What's wrong, Mr. Dong Shik?" The pink-haired guy saw his older brother shedding tears and immediately asked. Only now did he learn that his daughter had been struggling to lose weight lately, so she was quite sensitive, yet she sent loving messages to her father today. Dong Shik proudly claimed it was all thanks to the cherry tomatoes in the tower. Last time he only bought 20 fruits, but seeing his daughter's positive reaction, he regretted not buying more. But the straight guy next to him muttered, not understanding why women are so obsessed with weight. "I'm sure this guy is forever alone." Another guy then showed his phone wallpaper, telling how giving cherry tomatoes to his crush had led to them dating now, leaving the other two men gaping in surprise. "I still have a few at home." The pink-shirted guy immediately released the bait, catching 2 big fishes in front of him. They begged him earnestly to sell to them, especially the guy without a girlfriend, willing to spend a lot of money to win her over. Before things got more tense, Dong Shik stepped in to settle it. Instead of arguing, he suggested they all go straight up to the 38th floor. His extremely serious attitude startled everyone into compliance. Oh my, barely had a breath of fresh air, and already have to go fight monsters again. Those girls will have more complaints to add. The pink-shirted guy was trying hard to stop them when a sweet voice rang out. "We're ready," accompanied by the sound of high heels hitting the pavement. Jessica and her well-dressed sisters appeared, looking like they were going out for fun rather than a brawl. Their hot, slim bodies were all thanks to eating cherry tomatoes, so Jessica, feeling hot, wanted to go fight monsters. But in reality, these girls only came to buy weight loss items. Dongshik didn't care about those trivial things, immediately calling for 500 comrades to head to the Black Tower. Boldly striding under the blazing sun, Dongshik vowed to buy the whole package, to become a great father in his daughter's eyes. Also under that same blue sky, but the continuous sighs of mental stress filled the air, Theo walked away feeling gloomy. "When will I have enough 1,000 tower coins? The space pouch limit is 1,500. At this rate, it will take more than 10 more trips to gather enough money." The more he thought, the more his head hurt. The cat looked around but only saw no one. Where did everyone go? As he was about to leave, 2 people rushed out to stop him. These were the members of the Phoenix Club. Jessica was excitedly calling everyone out. Seeing the traitor, they rejoiced as if they had found gold, making Theo wonder if he was being hunted. The players told him they had been planting silk trees here for 3 days, fearing that the little cat wouldn't return. Theo's eyes widened in astonishment. Were they really waiting here to buy tomatoes? In the cat's mind, numbers began to jump unusually fast. It suddenly came up with a plan upon hearing the customers inquire about the price. It stated that the price had actually increased. "What did you say?" The other guy jumped up to ask just as their teammates were advancing. Dongshik, puzzled by what was happening, was told by his subordinate about the price increase of the item. "So how much did it increase? Give me a specific number." Waiting for that, Theo hastily said 0.07 tower coins, not much at all. As soon as he finished, he worried that he had raised the price too much. Unexpectedly, a wad of money fell to the ground, along with a request for 200 tomatoes. Dongshik didn't understand why such a valuable item was so cheap. Only a fool wouldn't buy this bargain. Seeing the leader's analysis so reasonable, the members of the Phoenix Club chatted excitedly, then scrambled to buy in large quantities. Theo hadn't even put the goods out yet, but they were all sold out in a flash. Looking at the pile of gold coins in front of him, he was extremely happy. "Do I need to raise the price even higher next time?" As he was busy collecting money, Dongshik asked Theo when he would return here. Theo was surprised but calmly replied, "In 10 days. This time frame is perfect for going to fight monsters and then coming back." Dongshik cautiously reminded the little cat to bring more tomatoes next time. Then he called the people in the team to carry the bags of tomatoes and go on the mission. There won't be more items for the brothers and sisters to take for another 10 days.